So if you're in a launch and you're struggling to convert sales, that tells me that it's a messaging problem. And with messaging, that also could mean that your audience, your leads, the invitation, it's not landing because they don't see the value of the transformation. They don't see the value of what it is that you're going to offer. You're on our third program. We're struggling with sales. I think we're getting stuck on people from Insta followers to convert. Got it. Okay, this is a great topic. So congratulations first and foremost for not only being in a launch, but continuing to show up for things like this and ask for support and ask for help and think outside the box. So here's the thing. If you're struggling to convert followers into clients when your doors are open or when you're in a launch, I'm not going to tell you that you can't do it and it's not going to happen and that you're too late, but I'm going to tell you that it's too late in the sense that the focus during a launch, the focus during doors open, the focus during enrollment process time, application, sales call, click to buy, the focus then should not be on converting people from followers into buyers. That's something that you're going to focus on earlier, and you might be doing that already. So I want to just talk about this through the lens of when you think about a proposal. When you're thinking about sales, I want to think about a proposal. So years ago, Mike proposed to me, right? My husband. And when he asked me to marry him, it was not the ring that made me say yes. It was nice. It was not where we were. It was not the music in the background. It was not what he was wearing. It was not how his hair was done. And it was not the color of my nails. None of those things were why I said yes to him. So I said yes to him because of the years of the relationship that we had built. We had so many memories together. We had been through challenges together. We had years of memories together. We had been through hard things together. We had been through good things together. I saw his vulnerability and I knew that I was okay with it. I knew what he was all about. I knew his core values. I had built up so much trust over the years that we had been dating, right? We also had conversations ahead of time of like, are we on the same page? For example, do you want kids? Where do you think you want to live one day? If you do want kids, what size family do you want? Are you open to XYZ? How do you feel about this particular stance of things? And so when he popped the question, I didn't say yes because of the ring or where we were. I said yes because here's the key thing. I already knew in my head that I was going to say yes if and when he asked me. This is huge with sales. Your customer, your client, your follower, your audience member, they already know in their head. If you put an invitation out, if you propose, if you open the doors, if you let them know about a way that they can work with you, they already know in their head if they're going to say yes or no, based on the trust that you've built, the conversations that you've had. So when you're thinking about sales, the yes happens before the ask. They know they're going to say yes when the opportunity presents itself, if the opportunity is exactly what they're expecting, because of the know, like, and trust, because of the content, because of the values, and all of the things that we're talking about. So if you're in a launch and you're struggling to convert sales, that tells me that it's a messaging problem. And with messaging, that also could mean that your audience, your leads, the invitation, it's not landing because they don't see the value of the transformation. They don't see the value of what it is that you're going to offer. Or you also could have your offer slightly off. So your offer is, what's the price point? What are the deliverables? Again, with the messaging, who's it for? How are you speaking about it? Are you focused too much on the deliverables and not enough on the actual transformation? We oftentimes talk far too much about the deliverables and the things that they're going to get because the human brain and the ego love to talk about the things that they're going to get, because when we talk about the things they're going to get, it makes us feel valuable, which is why we also layer on top of 75 modules, 100 videos, 150 page workbook, 25 calls with me. And we just keep talking about all the stuff we're going to give them, trying to make us feel valid, trying to make it perceived, trying to make it feel valuable. When in reality, when you talk about all that stuff, you're exhausting them and they're not interested because now you're telling them that they're going to have to work really hard. And we don't really want to work hard as humans. We want fast success. We want instant gratification. So what I would say is if you're in a launch, focus on the people who are showing up, focus on the people who are reaching out, focus on really getting clear in your messaging. Who is this for? Who is it not? What is this for? What is it not? What's the transformation? What's the cost of inaction? Where are they going to be in 1 week, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months if they don't take action, if they don't make a change? What's your personal story? What are client testimonials? What are some other results you've gotten for other people? So really leaning on all of that. The other thing that tells me, because we're scientists in our business, is to take all of the information and data that we get and to hold it in a neutral space and to look at it from a place of detachment and say, oh, interesting. Okay, this is working, quote unquote, working for this reason, or it's not working for this reason. So when we can take a neutral, detached stance, we're just looking at that information. So lacking of conversion, it also could be a time thing. So what did your runway look like moving into launch? Now, I teach 8 different phases of launching. And in the 8 different phases, one of the big phases is runway. Now, you're never not launching. This is huge. As a business owner, you need to understand this. When you're not saying doors are open, apply here, or click to buy, or anything like that, then you're in runway. Even when you're in post-launch and you're doing like a post-launch debrief, you're back in runway. What happens in runway is that's where you're doing the majority of that know, like, and trust. You're building the credibility and the authority. During your season of runway, aka nurture, is anytime your doors are not open for whatever it is that you're selling, not only are you working behind the scenes on building the relationships and know, like, and trust, but this is when you're helping build your own list, right? You're getting people moved into your email list. You're putting out podcasts. You're a guest on podcasts. You're guest coaching in other people's programs. You're putting out a massive amount of content. The biggest mistake that I see most coaches make, and I've worked with thousands of them, is that they aren't super consistent with content. They're definitely not consistent with email marketing. And then they come to launch when the doors are going to be open. And all of a sudden they start hammering their list and they start posting a lot of content and they start sending out a bunch of emails. And obviously all of the emails and all of the content are promotional pieces of content. And so now they're telling people to join their program. They're telling people to click the link and buy, and then it's not converting. Well, go figure. Obviously it's not converting. You haven't done your job. You can't take your foot off the gas. I've been through the cycle for over a decade of all in, crash and burn, burnout. Now, not only is that awful for my own central nervous system, my emotional health, right? My financial health, but that is not going to create the relationship with your audience. And so Gary Vee wrote a book a long time ago, I don't even know, 5-10 years ago, called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Great book. Gary Vee wrote it. And it's the concept or the idea. You don't have to read the book. I mean, you can if you want to. I love Gary, but it's this concept of like give, ask. Give, ask. Value, promote. Value, promote. Super easy. Now, I love it and I don't fully agree with it. And I love him and I don't fully agree with it. This is me sticking a flag in the sand telling you what I believe and what I don't. This is me telling you what I stand for and what I don't. I'm in the camp of we're always jabbing. It's jab, right hook at the same time. Jab, right hook at the same time. I don't think you need to take a break. I don't think you need to take a breath. Even when I'm promoting, I'm still coming on and doing lives. I'm still giving value. I'm still putting out content that has nothing to do with the promotion. I'm still putting out content where the call to action is not for you to send me a word or register a link in bio. There's always got to be value coming in. That's my belief. I always want to be giving you value because at the end of the day, I believe that if I have a solution to a problem, it's my responsibility to share it with the world. I know to be true that not everybody in my audience or my email list or on the internet is in a place where they're ready, they can, or they want to invest financially, no matter what the scale might be. If it's a $5 offer, a $5,000 offer, not everybody in my audience might not be in a place at every moment of every day where they're able, willing, or ready to financially invest. Same reason why there are a lot of great men in this world, but I said yes to Mike, because we had the relationship, the trust, we had the experiences together. We were on the same page. He made me laugh, right? There's all these things, and the same thing happens when someone's hiring a coach or a service provider. You are the secret sauce. People are going to buy from you because you are you. I'm super grateful for you being here. I'm going to go pop off. This was another fabulous Coaching Over Coffee live Q&A. So thanks so much for joining me. Awesome questions today. Thank you so much for being part of this. And as always, how we end every episode, cheers to your evolution.